Hi, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would talk to you for a few minutes while I work on the cat from Diamond Art Club. And I have been thinking about talking to you about books that we really don't like, that we want to DNF, which is do not finish, but we finish anyway. And then at the end of it, we ask ourselves, what in the world did I just read? And I'm going to be a little bit, I might be specific or I might be general. So let me tell you about one book. There was the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, and it inspired a writer to write a book making our female character as despicable as possible and our male protagonist as the victim. And the reason that I got this book was because I was approached to read it. And at first I ignored the email because I get approached so many times that it's just not, if I'm not going to read a book, I'm not going to read a book. And then the next email comes and I make that decision to read or not read. So then I was asked a second time, and it might not have been email, it might have been a DM, a direct message. So when the second request came through, I'm like, yeah, I guess I will. I'll do it. So then they were said, a messenger group was formed for those of us who agreed to read the book. And so as I'm reading the book, it was 270 pages. I just could not believe what I was reading. And my book review is going up today. So I'm going to tell you what book it is, because if you go to my blog, Robin Loves Reading, I think at 10 a.m., you're going to see the book review. And it's called The Second Wife by N.J. Moss. And I cringed the whole way through that book. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to make an individual book review video of it other than talking about it right here. And between the treatment that our protagonist, her name was Casey, by the way, and the husband's name was Scott. What she did to Scott throughout the book was just, it was just a little bit too much. And I could not, like when I first reviewed the book, I gave it a 3, but I felt I was being dishonest. So then I went ahead and amended my review and gave it the rating that I felt it should have gotten, which was a 2 stars. Now, I kept it at 2 stars because I was intrigued on one basis, and that was what would happen in the end. And I really did want to know. So, my question is, what do you do when you read a book that you really don't like, but you feel like you should read it because you were asked to? Then there was another book that I was asked to read, and that book won't be out until the 18th. And I was going to binge read the trilogy if I could. So the author gave me the code for book 1, and I said, well, where's the code for book 2? He goes, well, I can't give you book 2 until you read and review book 1. So that was a couple months ago. And that kind of annoyed me a little bit, so I didn't put much credence into or much priority into reading the books. But I did put it on my blog tour calendar so that I would see the reminder that I had agreed to read this book. So I go to listen to book 1, and I'm really enjoying it, and my notes reflect that I was okay with the book. But I really did not know how to feel about the way the book ended. I just didn't know. So then I asked the author again for book 2. He goes, no, not until you put the review on Audible. Okay, now the author's getting on my nerves. But I went to put the book on Goodreads so that I would remember, because I read so much, I didn't want to forget that I was seeking that book. And I noticed it was on Kindle Unlimited. So I said, fine, Oh, where did I put? Oh. So I went ahead and used, with Kindle Unlimited, you can, I believe, download 10 books, up to 10 books at a time, and read them at your leisure. So I decided to go ahead and do that. Not wait on the author being controlling of my time. I went ahead and got it. My notes on this book were really good. Really powerful notes. Really good notes. And then I noticed something at the end that was different than anything I've ever seen in a book, and it was the way the chapter was titled. So that gave me pause. I'm like, why is the chapter titled like this? And all I can tell you is my feelings are so messed up right now. I feel like I'm angry with the author for what he did in the book. Now, they sent me a BookFunnel link to book 3. Book number 1, I wasn't crazy about the ending, but I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Book number 2, I hated it. But guess what? At the end of the book, not only does he ask us not to spoil the book, like I have to be told how to write a book review, but at the end of the book, he gives us an alternate ending, a light and cheery alternate ending. But wait a minute, I just read the original ending. And he broke my heart into a million trillion pieces, all while making me angry. Now, while I was reading the book, there was subject matter in the book that was very serious. There was actually 2 very serious subject matters. And I felt very strong feelings because of something going on in my own family, with a dear friend, and with another friend. And basically, it made the book hit very close to home, if not too close to home. And then I get to the ending, and I really didn't like the ending. Now, I did something different than I usually do. Is I went to Goodreads and Amazon and read most, if not all, of the book reviews that have come out for this book. And by far the majority of people for books 1 and book 2 give it 4 and 5 stars. Now, I consider myself a fair and honest book reviewer, a very conscientious book reviewer, a reviewer that respects the hard work that it takes for authors to create books and to entertain us with their books. So I'm being as vague as I can possibly be because book 3 doesn't come out until October 18th, and I don't want to dissuade anybody from reading the book. All I can tell you is I won't be reading it. No way. Yes, I got a BookFunnel link, but they're just going to have to count it as a loss. So, again, what do you do when a book evokes such strong feelings of dislike? Now, most of you that are watching me do not review books on a YouTube channel or on a blog, but I do. And I don't I do notice, I'm going to say something. I do notice that a lot of popular channels are, because they are rant channels where they rant against a, a certain subject. And there are book review channels or booktube channels that are very successful at ranting. And I don't want to do that. But yet, in the last week, I read 3 books that have created very strong negative feelings in me. And I have the power with my YouTube channel to talk about these books. But at the same time, my respect for authors is immense. And they put a lot of energy and time into writing the books for our pleasure. So I never want to tear an author down. I just want to be able to honestly say that I don't like the book for reason X, reason Y, reason Z. I just want to be able to say that without showing disrespect to the author or even their publisher for the book that they have pretty much asked me to read. Now, I didn't have to read books 1 and 2. I did not have to, because I was not initially inquired upon to read books 1 and 2. But if you follow me on this channel, and if you follow me on my blog or any other book-related social media, one thing you'll know for sure is I am a series reviewer. Like, for example, I had The Plot and the Pendulum by Jen McKinley for a review, and it's the 13th book in the series. So what did I do? I went to my online libraries and I grabbed the first 12. Now, last year I did read 11 and 12, but I wanted to read it from book 1 all the way through to book 13, which meant rereading book number 12. Does that take time? You bet your bottom dollar it takes time. Did it take time for me to read books 1 and 2 after being requested to read book 3? Even though they're individual stories and could be read as standalones? No, it wasn't necessary. But it's what I do. It's always going to be what I do. And I think as a book reviewer who gets paid in accolades only, it's my world and welcome to it. So basically what I'm saying is I have a right to say what I want to say as long as I show as long as I show respect and kindness. And when you look at the amount of hours that it takes to maintain a blog, a channel, cross-posting on all the social media, never mind the time it takes to write the books, to collect the links, to collect the images, or in my case, doing multiple blog tours and working on deadlines over and over and over again. With all that said and done, we are in some ways doing the author a favor by reading their work. But then they give you a completely traumatic storyline and an equally dramatic, heartbreaking ending. Well, at least one of the endings. And then want you to review favorably so that you can go ahead and read book 3. What is wrong with this picture? Something is wrong with this picture, and I'm not happy. I'm just not happy. But there are good things on the horizon. I am buddy reading Girl Forgotten by Karen Slaughter, Lessons by Ian McEwan. I will be buddy reading Pride and Puppies by Lizzie Shane. And on my own, I'm reading Demon Copperhead by Barbara. Oh my goodness, why am I not thinking of her name? Let's look up her name really quickly. I'm sorry. That's pathetic that I can't think of her name. Barbara. Barbara, what is your name, lady? Of course, my phone, everything that I do on my journal, I do on my iPad, but it syncs to my phone, but it's just taking its time because okay, Barbara Kingsolver. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of her name. I have never read anything by her, but I am doing that, so I do have some good reads. I am going also for this week while I do those buddy reads, we'll be reading through my last of the October books that I have for blog tours, which I believe is 3, so I need to hop to it because it's already October. Is today the 12th? Because of today? Oh my goodness. One of the books that I didn't like, that review is going to go live in a couple of hours. But anyway, so I've got some good reading. I got some great buddy reads going on. And I've got all of the blog tours that I want to finish up for October, which means that I have a host of videos to make again and a heck of a lot of book reviews to write. And no worries, it'll get done. You know, it will get done. So that's all I'm going to talk about on this video. Just trying to be vague so that if that book comes into your purview and you go to read it, you're not tainted by my opinion. I never want to taint. I only want to read, recommend, review, and repeat, or however Neck Alley says it. I just want to just be a very productive book reviewer, an active reader, and somebody who appreciates the hard work that authors put into their craft. I just don't understand sometimes how things get past editors and get published when they're just so below par, in my opinion. Not the author, but the works that author produced. So, we're going to end this video, and I'm going to thank you for watching. Bye-bye.